On Voice of the People 90.3 FM. I am Solomon of First Out Top Stories. Federal government orders withdrawal of case against Ibom Airline passenger Comfort Emmanson. Federal government reduces Quam 1's no-flight ban and pilot suspension to 1 month. Reps push to make appeal court final judge in governorship election disputes. Dangote Refinery slashes ex-depot petrol price by 30 naira. 30,000 naira car raising bet leaves 5 dead in Ogun State. On international news, Zelensky and European leaders to hold Trump call ahead of Putin summit. And in sports, Sudan dump Eagles B out of Chan after 4-0 thrashing. Those are our top stories. Details coming up in just a moment. First, on the news, the federal government has ordered the withdrawal of the case against Comfort Emmanson on an Ibom air flight on August 10, 2025. The development came after Emmanson was remanded in prison following the incident. A statement by the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, on Wednesday said the move was necessitated following consultation with critical stakeholders in the aviation sector and those involved in the unfortunate incidents regarding the unruly behaviors of certain individuals at our airports of recent. Emmanson had allegedly attacked a flight attendant and clashed with security operatives at the airport. The alleged assault led to her being arraigned and remanded at the Kirikiri Correctional Center in Lagos State on Monday. Reacting to the incident in a statement posted on his X page on Monday, Keyamo confirmed that Emmanson was arraigned before the Ikeja Magistrates Court on criminal charges. He condemned her actions, noting that she was remanded because she failed to provide adequate sureties in court. However, the minister also criticized the circulation of the viral indecent video which showed Emmanson's top torn and her upper body exposed. He said he ordered action against the Ibom air officials who leaked the footage. A prison remand has since sparked further outrage among civil societies, the public, including the Nigerian Bar Association (NBA), which condemned Ibom Air and the airline operators of Nigeria for the unfair manner in which the incident was handled. In a U-turn on Wednesday, Keyamo said parties involved in the incident have learned their lessons. He also said the incident had raised public awareness of airport security protocols regarding traveling. Keyamo noted that the female Ibom passenger will be released from Kirikiri prison immediately and the lifetime flying ban will also be lifted. Meanwhile, the federal government has ordered the reduction of the indefinite no-flight ban imposed on Fuji icon Wasiu Ayinde, better known as Quam 1, to 1 month, and the restoration of the licenses of the pilot and co-pilot involved in the ValueJet airline incident by a 1-month suspension. In a statement on Wednesday, Minister of Aviation Festus Keyamo announced that the move followed critical consultations with stakeholders in the aviation sector. Keyamo wrote, quote, "In the case of Quam 1, the NCAA is to reduce his flight ban to a 1-month period. In the case of Captain Oluranti Ogoji and the co-pilot First Officer Ivan Oloba of ValueJet, the NCAA is to restore their licenses after the same period of 1-month ban after undergoing some mandatory professional reappraisal." End of quote. On August 5, 2025, the singer attempted to stop a ValueJet aircraft at the Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport, Abuja, from moving. The move attracted backlash from Nigerians, following which the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority (NCAA) placed an indefinite no-flight ban on Quam 1. Immediately after the incident, the NCAA wrote to the Inspector General of Police IGP Kayode Egbetokun and the Attorney General of the Federation AGF Lateef Fagbemi, seeking a comprehensive criminal investigation and the initiation of appropriate prosecution against the singer, an ally of President Bola Tinubu. The singer later apologized for the incident, but Keyamo announced that the criminal complaints lodged against Kwam have been withdrawn and he will be named as an airport security protocol ambassador. A member of the House of Representatives, Bayo Balogun, has said the Green Chamber is advancing a bill seeking to amend the 1999 Constitution to make the Court of Appeal the final arbiter on governorship election petitions in Nigeria. Balogun, the chairman of House Committee on the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), stated this on television. He said one advantage of that provision is that while the State and National Assembly are in the tribunal, then the presidential and governorship will be at the appeal court. So by the time they are moving from the appeal to the Supreme Court, the one of the states and the National Assembly will now be going to the appeal court. So we will now have a spread. He added that what the representatives are trying to do now is to reduce the tribunal period to 90 days and the appeal to 50 days. Then have the 21 days for filing of the petition and 14 days for filing of the appeal. By the time all these numbers put together, we are looking at 185. According to the lawmaker, the law would make INEC to hold elections earlier than February to pave the way for the conclusion of post-election litigations before the end of governor's tenure. He appealed and explained that there will be 3 layers again for anybody after the governorship poll has been conducted. The bill, if passed, will move the Supreme Court from the appeal process in governorship dispute. Dangote Petro Refinery has announced a reduction in the ex-depot gantry price of premium motor spirit PMS or petrol by 30 naira from 850 naira to 820 naira per litre. A statement signed by the refinery's chief branding and communications officer Anthony Echegina, who announced the gantry price reduction in a statement, said the change took effect from Tuesday, August 12, 2025. According to the statement, the move was part of the refinery's unwavering commitment to national development, assuring the public of a consistent and uninterrupted supply of petroleum product. This statement added, quote, "In line with our dedication to operational excellence and sustainable energy solutions, Dangote Petro Refinery will commence the phased deployment of 4,000 compressed natural gas (CNG) powered trucks for fuel distribution across Nigeria effective August 15, 2025. End of quote. Tragedy struck in the Ibara area of Remo, Ogun State, when a 30,000 naira race car wager resulted in an accident that left 5 people, including 3 suspected internet fraudsters popularly known as Yahoo Boys, and 2 residents, dead. According to a source in the community who pleaded anonymity, the suspected Yahoo Boys had organized a car racing contest with a 30,000 naira wager for the winner. The source noted that during the contest, one of the participants lost control and rammed into a nearby shop, killing 2 bystanders on the spot. The source disclosed that the driver, alongside 2 other occupants of the vehicle, got trapped and sustained varying degrees of injury before they were rescued and taken to separate hospitals. Similarly, multiple videos of the incident show some victims lying lifeless on the ground. Another video showed the damaged building that the car had rammed into and the occupants of the vehicle trapped inside. Voices of sympathizers wailing about the loss of lives were also heard in the videos, some of which are now being circulated on social media platforms. Confirming the incident, the spokesperson for the Ogun State Traffic Compliance and Enforcement Agency, Babatunde Akimbi, disclosed that the driver of the vehicle died at the spot, while 2 other occupants sustained varying degrees of injuries and were rescued at different hospitals. We now join in Kamian John from our Abuja studio for more news.
Thanks for staying with us. These are the latest developments from the nation's capital. I am Kamian John. President Bola Tinubu on Tuesday met with Anambra State Governor Charles Soludo at the presidential villa in Abuja. The closed-door meeting's details remain undisclosed, but sources suggest it may be linked to the upcoming Anambra governorship elections, where Soludo is seeking a second term. The Anambra State Governor was spotted wearing a cap with President Tinubu's Infinity logo, seen by many as a sign of political endorsement. According to the Independent National Electoral Commission, the state governorship election will hold on November 8, 2025. Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun has ordered a full investigation into Fuji legend Wasiu Ayinde Marshall, popularly known as Kwam One, over allegations that he disrupted the safe operation of a flight at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. Police spokesperson DCP Olumuyiwa Adejobi said on Tuesday that the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority had lodged a formal complaint accusing the musician of unruly conduct in breach of the Nigerian Civil Aviation Regulations 2023. The alleged incident took place on August 5th, 2025, and has prompted the airport command to bring a thorough probe to determine the circumstances and ensure justice. The police said they remain committed to aviation safety and will work closely with stakeholders to enforce compliance with regulations. The Federal Capital Territory Civil Service Commission has begun a computer-based promotion examination for 915 assistant and deputy directors. Speaking at the launch in Abuja on Tuesday, Commission Chairman Emeka Eze said the candidates were drawn from the Universal Basic Education Board, Secondary Education Board, Education Secretariat, and other agencies. Eze explained that the process, conducted in phases, is aimed at ensuring only qualified officers advance to the director level, equipping them for today's technology-driven work environment. He noted that the move aligns with the renewed hope agenda and will prevent interference or undue pressure in the promotion process, with results expected within a week of the exams. According to Eze, the FCT Civil Service Commission is the first in Nigeria to adopt computer-based promotion examinations. Those are the latest updates from the nation's capital. I am Nkamiang John.
You're still on to the World News at 12 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We'll go straight to our analysis segment where we have Ezekiel Oguntuashe, a legal practitioner and a current affairs analyst, joining us this afternoon on the News at 12. Barrister Oguntuashe, thank you so much for joining us on the News at 12.
You're welcome.
So let's go straight to the first talking point for the news, where the federal government has ordered the withdrawal of the case against Comfort Emmanson and Ibom air flight on August 10, 2025. This development came after Ms. Emmanson was remanded in prison following the incident. So it seems like Nigerians adding their voice, into these incidents of selective judgment is, the federal government listened and they've taken their decision. What do you think?
Yes, originally, as far as this, the decision of the federal government had in it is continuing, because all these things should have come first before even before the arraignment, before being beaten in Kiriti, or whatever any decision they wanted to put in place. When you look at the new scenario, everybody was shocked, everybody was surprised when that the video was shown online and went viral. The issue is this: there must be two sides to a coin. The maybe looking for one, the other thing that happened, and later the people will have different videos that was different, because what we were able to understand is that maybe was a really was this and that, but then the original people come up. It says that there was a competitor for the camera, and that aside, within the space of a week, the same offence was committed by somebody else, and it was given 6 months ban. Before, after that, the ban was due to 1 month. Secondly, why was the first person who was found in this scenario? Why was he not detained? Why was he not detained in prison? Why Emmanson? And the second aspect of the issue is this. Is that the way our current people work? Somebody can just be arrested at for whatever you think is not that he or she has done wrong before you know anything is being thrown behind bars. It doesn't work that way. So let me appreciate the Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo, for taking the right step for withdrawing the charge against her. It's a good development. So from my own point of view, I would rather submit that next time there are some things that better to plan that they were being handled. She was not given her to play. She was just bonded beyond that. It all seems to be true. That is not how it is being done in advanced crime. If that is the advocacy of getting Nigerians, a child of nobody should have been tried, convicted, and sentenced. But our voice really went a lot. That was what, and the federal government saw that Nigerian position on it are not very encompassing. That was why they withdrew. That was why they retreated. But I think that the aviation, all the stakeholders involved can do better for the sake of the future.
In other words, if I hear you correctly, because we're getting like a very spotty network here. If I heard you correctly, you're saying investigations should have been done properly.
Exactly, Solomon.
Okay.
Investigation should have been done properly before anything penal, before any punitive measure against anybody. It was after you must have punished her. You can imagine the mental challenges after you detain her. You now begin to investigate. You now retreated. No, and that is how it works in our police system, the ESG system. They will first of all arrest you before investigation. It ought not to be. Investigate first. Know who is guilty. Know who was provoked, because provocation was part of our laws. Know, before you take all those decisions, so that you won't look as if you don't know what you are doing. That's how it's supposed to be done in advanced crimes, and that's our argument. That's our position, and Nigeria will get there.
I mean, for some of the lots of negative that these administrations have, gotten in terms of decision making, economy. I mean, so many other things. But at least there are some applaud, in favor of the aviation minister Festus Keyamo on this decision. At least it was justice delayed, but it wasn't denial in this case.
Like I said earlier in Solomon, I actually commended the Minister of Aviation. The only fault in which I saw there is that, apart from that, let me even go to the airline operators where the grown norm, where they got the power to do the suspension. I don't even know. So for me, it's a good development. So anyway, at the end of the day, but my own exception to it is that all this should have been done earlier on. All this should have been done earlier on. So that's just it. It's a good development.
And it also shows, I mean, you're a legal practitioner, you represent people in court, so you see this every day. This also shows why we keep hearing that justice in Nigeria is quite delayed. We hear a lot of judges have too many cases, piling up for them. That's all. Have millions of people languishing in prison awaiting trial. Most of them, being in prison way longer than their original crime. But in this case, it was a swift justice. Some people have called this political. Do you agree with that?
Yes, we cannot do that throughout. The issue of awaiting trials in the prison, in our correctional center, we just hope that it's not that is not the duty of the Minister of Aviation anyway. It's the duty of each state judicial system, the magistrate court, the chief judges. But just like I said, we can actually do better. They actually do better. For me, I will commend the Minister of Education in one part. Just like I said earlier on, I will also berate them on another part. That okay, we can as well do this just the way it's us to be done. Justice should not be seen to be done, but must be seen to have been done, perfectly done. So for me, I just believe that I just hope all this thing will spread across to our national life, so that innocent will not just go, we don't go be punished. Because what I've seen is that in years of my practice, I realized that after you must have been punished, there is nothing like restorative justice. After so many people are languishing in prison, and at the end of the day they said they are treated for the offenses they know nothing about. We compensate them back with the years being spent behind bars, Solomon. Who is compensating them for the years they spend behind bars? As far Emmanson is lucky, and he should go and fight and start anyway, because our own did not go the way of others. That's my own position about that.
So voices, lots of voices are saying that she should be compensated for the for what she's been through. The fact that they rushed the judgment and she's been remanded in prison, and the fact that she was indecent. There's an indecent video of her circulating on social media. But in your experience, do you think that will ever happen? Compensation?
Compensation, yes. If there should be compensation, I think that would be from the Ibom here himself. Ibom should compensate.
But in your experience, do you think that will ever happen? Do you think she can be compensated?
The way things happen in Nigeria, I doubt. But I think to the extent they can enforce it. You can sue. You can sue for damages. You can sue for compensation. But in Nigeria, even when we get judgment, even we as lawyers, when we have judgment, the Nigerian government, Nigerian police, how many of them are they doing? How many compensation, how many damages are being paid? They don't. They don't. I just hope they do. I just hope they have the moral strength and the moral attitude and compass to do the right thing and compensate her.
And hopefully she has a very good representation to push for that compensation, if that is possible at all.
Of course, in fact, I appreciate the Nigerian Bar Association, the Nigerian president, and the Nigerian Bar Association president.
Yeah, they lend their voice and they
lend their voice. It shouldn't end there. It shouldn't even be any lending of voices. They should make sure the legal society, the NGO people, to make sure to pursue to the conclusion, so that there will be deterrence. Look at what if this lady was okay, she has done one thing that is done. Why was a bad picture posted online to embarrass her? Those people not go without compensation. Not go without damages being paid. And I believe that.
And on the other hand, of course, talking about the selective, justice here, the federal government, has ordered the reduction of the indefinite no-flight ban imposed on the Fuji icon Wasiu Ayinde, popularly known as Kwam 1 to 1 month, and it didn't end there. They even compensated him by announcing that, he's been named Airport Security Protocol Ambassador.
Solomon, Nigerian society, you understand that there are two laws for the rich. There are two laws one for the rich and one for the poor. But in this circumstance, if someone is being reduced to 1 month, at the same time, this commission is ambassador of Nigeria NCCA, Civil Aviation Authority, I believe the same thing should go for Emmanson. Because for me, there is no really difference between the offenses of both people. If you are compensating Kwam 1, then you should compensate Emmanson with the ambassadorial position too. So that we won't be saying that, okay, because Kwam 1 is a rich man and Emmanson belongs to Yoi Poloi. I believe that the parties involved, Minister of Aviation, the NCAA, even the Ibom here, will do the needful as far as this can be. But for me, Emmanson has not the issue of withdrawing the director of the Minister of Aviation, the IG or police, and withdrawing the charges against her. For me, it's not enough. Let it go. Let us go two sideways too. Because it happened the same time. Let us go two sideways. That's my position.
Now, this also raises one very critical part of democracy. The Nigerians or citizens talking in one voice. We hear that Nigerians have not been enjoying the best of democracy, especially since the APC came into power, where the federal government, this administration, the APC government, beginning from the Muhammadu Buhari administration, spilling over to the Tinubu administration, where they've been accused of silencing dissent, but this shows example of these Nigerians, coming in support of Emmanson, Miss Emmanson, and of course against selective justice, shows that democracy really is not lost indeed. Because of course, there have been allegations that since the APC came into government, it's been an extension of military rule. And we see that with even in states where a radio station was where there is a call for the governor of that state that the license of that radio station be revoked. There was even another situation where the general manager of a radio station was suspended because he said something against the government. And you have this example out of so many other examples of what this APC government has been accused of, not practicing democracy the way it is practiced in other parts of the world. But with this call now, it shows democracy is not totally lost in this country.
Solomon, this case alone cannot be used as a yardstick.
But he can be a turning point.
We hope so, because when you look at it's not really APC government alone, but APC government they are taking it too far. When it comes to right to freedom of expression, APC government, there was a government that that was when the issue of cyberbullying came in, criminal defamation, when you criticize another person. And the only of it is that this criticism, when you criticize a poor person in the streets, you are not charged for criminal defamation or cyberbullying. But when you really take your time to really assess constructively now, to criticize any government or any personality in power, the next thing is you are being arrested, you are being detained, you can look at what happened in Kaduna State. Under the leadership of the ex-governor, the next Verify, where somebody was not detained forever continuously. Look at the case against this man's president against the son of the president, because he criticized for his role in the man's election. He detained. So my own take is that over the years, from another perspective, the Tinubu government has been seen as oppressing the right of the people. When it comes to anybody that has a voice, the person will be, just look at what is happening between Showore and the Egbetoku and the idea of police. But what I'm saying in essence is this: we have a long way to go. Of course, it's a turning point that we agree with you to that extent, but there are so many things to be covered. There are laws to be done as far as right to freedom of expression is concerned, as the provision of the Constitution to chapter 4, not necessarily rights to protest, right to criticize, right to express ourselves against what individual personality in government is doing. Then, from here, there are a lot of things to do by the Tinubu administration. Tinubu has been a Democrat. That was what we knew him for. I believe that the Tinubu administration can do better more than what. But let's just believe that this is a turning point. That something has been kicked off.
Let's go to this other talking point where the House of a member of the House of Representatives, Bayo Balogun, has said the Green Chamber is advancing a bill seeking to amend the 1999 Constitution to make the Court of Appeal the final arbiter of governorship election petitions in Nigeria. What do you think about that bill?
For me, before now, that was I think it was the second occasion that amended the constitution to this effect of making a governorship election tribunal to go to the Supreme Court, because before that had been the position. Before, because the election that brought in the decision that brought in Biko, that brought Arabeshola, that brought Fayemi, all of them are ended at the Court of Appeal. It shows that we are going back to the same position. For me, Solomon, the issue is not whether or not appeal goes to Court of Appeal from the Government Tribunal or Supreme Court. The challenge is the personalities, the judicial system. I just hope that we can get to a time whereby we can have a judiciary that we can say that is the last hope of the common man, because the persons that are in Supreme Court are the same justices that are at the Court of Appeal. They are still human beings. My own take is this: a strong institution, strong judiciary that are impenetrable from the influence of the political class. That is when we can say that, okay, this is a good thing to do. It's not a bad thing to render the Court of Appeal instead of going to the Supreme Court. But there is one thing that I really take away from that bill, sponsored by a member of the House of Rep, the honorable member. The takeaway is that elections should be concluded, should be conducted. Elections should be conducted and conducted before being sworn in. Before being sworn in by anybody is being sworn in or for any position. That is, let us conclude the election, the position of the election tribunals, all the appeals before being sworn in. But because it doesn't really all go well. After you must have won the state election, been sworn in, and you are using the instrument and the resources of the state to fight your own battle. You know what I'm talking from Solomon. That is my position. We need a strong decision. We need a strong judiciary that will say, okay, this is it, without care whose us is God. Without care whose us is God. So for me, is at the same time, another takeaway is that the Supreme Court already has overstretched. The Supreme Court has been overstretched. There are so many cases lying in the Supreme Court that are not being heard. In fact, so many cases for the past 3 years, for the past 4 years, that they don't have date yet. So it's a way of shedding load from the Supreme Court. It's a good way to go, but also, like I said, we all need strong people. That is just the life and we have to do. So that we can say that it is not, of course, Nigerian situation. We know before that once APC loses election, once APC loses a judgment in any court, they will tell you the court has lost its credibility. It is not a good decision. But once APC win, it is a good decision. Vice versa, I'm not taking out APC, as a party now. Yeah. Do you understand?
In other words, you're saying because of how politicians behave with impunity in this country, it doesn't matter if it ends with the appeal court or it goes over to the Supreme Court. I mean, it's probably going to be whatever decision or whatever sentence it will be.
Exactly, it doesn't matter. In as one that whether the governorship election tribunal, whether the Court of Appeal, as Supreme Court, they are all court of law.
Now, there are two, ideology to how something should be handled. I don't know what side of the divide you are. There are some people that say we need more Supreme Court judges because of the workload that you've alluded to, and we have the other side that said no, we already have too many Supreme Court judge. What they should do is our legal system is quite a cake. We still have a lot of these judges writing on pen and paper. They have no support structure. These judges basically do almost everything themselves, thereby affecting their optimal performance. That so what they should do is these judges should be given some support staff to help them do a lot of investigation and background instead of increasing the number of Supreme Court judges. And of course not just the Supreme Court judges, I mean judges themselves, especially magistrate court. So many things that need to be done to help magistrate courts do their job properly. So what side of the divide are you, and why?
Yes, thank you very much, Solomon. For me, as far as let me start from the Supreme Court, so to speak. As far as the Supreme Court is concerned, my Lord justices as Supreme Court, they are competent and capable. But on the other way around, just like I said earlier on, in the course of our discourse, Solomon, there are so many people lying up there at the apex court. What if I tell you that there are cases of 2-3 years at the Supreme Court that they have no date yet? They are there. So what I'm suggesting is this: let if at least in the geopolitical zones, let that be Supreme Court in each geopolitical zones, or even the 2 geopolitical zones. Let's increase the number of judges of the Lord justices at the Supreme Court, so that imagine states, imagine appeals coming from 37 states. You know what I mean by 37 states now? That the 36 states and the FCT making it 37. Imagine cases coming from all these court of appeal in these different states, and we have 21 by virtue of the provision of the Constitution, 21 judges of the Supreme Court. The rules are too many, and many of them, by virtue of the fact that as they progress with age, and they progress with energy. You get my perspective now. They progress with age and energy. Energy reduces. Energy will be sapping. So my own position is this: let's duplicate this Supreme Court. Even if you cannot have the 6 political zones, let's have the Supreme Court of the North and the South.
In other words, you're advocating for more Supreme Court judges.
Exactly. The Supreme Court, more advocates to the Supreme Court justices. Let there be more. Let there be duplicates. Let's please, their roles. Let's do their functions.
Instead of having more support staff and more technology to aid the work of the already number of Supreme Court judges we have.
All of them can be done together. All of them have been going all together. The fact that we have a number of justices does not mean that as far as their personal hate cannot be increased. It doesn't take a national high business to do all these things. And let them hire lawyers, competent people who can as well. Of course, in other plan we have the jury and we have the courts. All of them, their jobs, everybody know their rules. The fact that they became the Supreme Court does not stop them hiring more hands. And then when you go to the magistrate court, you are aware that as far as the lower court is concerned, the magistrate court, we have circumstances whereby in a day there will be 30 cases on the court list. 30 cases on the court list. But Solomon, let me point your attention to something very important. At the magistrate court, the issue of prosecution should be taken away from the hands of the police. That has been my advocacy in all the fora in which I have attended, Solomon. When you go to the magistrate's court, it is the police that prosecutes offender, the accused person. We must work on that area. Let there be lawyers who serve as prosecutor, who can be civil servants under the superintendent of the Attorney General of each state. There is no way a policeman can have the legal acumen more than the defense counsel. You get my point now? The defense counsel is always a lawyer coming against a policeman. A lawyer, by virtue of his experience and part of his training, will be more ahead of a policeman who is on the other hand a prosecutor. So let lawyers be engaged in serve as prosecutors and properly paid. Let there be more courts. Nigerian government, each state has the resources to do all these things. That's my take.
Okay, thank you very much, Barrister Oguntuashe. This is the much we can take because of time. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for your time.
It's a player, Solomon.
That's Barrister Ezekiel Oguntuashe, of course, a legal practitioner and a current affairs analyst. Let's quickly take a look at our international news, where Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will travel to Berlin to talk with German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, European leaders and top United States officials ahead of the planned summit between US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin later this week. Both the German and Ukrainian governments confirmed the visit on Wednesday, which comes as Kyiv and its European allies push to ensure their voices are heard in discussions about ending the war. Merz has arranged a series of virtual meetings beginning with European leaders and followed by a call with Trump and US Vice President J.D. Vance about an hour later. The day will conclude with a separate discussion among leaders of the so-called Coalition of the Willing, an assemblage of Western countries allied with Ukraine. At a news briefing on Wednesday, Merz also pledged to help Ukraine develop long-range missile systems without Western-imposed restrictions on their use or targets. Trump has described Friday's summit with the Russian leader in Alaska as a feel-out meeting to gauge whether Putin is serious about ending the conflict. But he has unsettled European allies by suggesting Ukraine will have to give up some Russian-held territory and by floating the idea of land swaps without specifying what Moscow might surrender. European governments have insisted Ukraine must be part of any peace negotiations, warning that excluding Kyiv could benefit Moscow. And finally, on sports, Nigeria's hope of progressing in the African Nations Championship CHAN came to a crushing halt as Sudan produced a ruthless display to win 4-0 in their second Group D match in Zanzibar. Eric Shell's men already under pressure following a narrow 1-0 defeat to Senegal in their opening game were dismantled by a Senegalese side that combined physical power with incisive attacking. The result leaves Nigeria bottom of the group with no points and a goal differences of -5, confirming their elimination from the tournament. The tone of the match was set early when Sudan began pressing high and forcing mistakes in Nigeria's defensive third. About 25 minutes, the breakthrough came in a bizarre fashion as Leonard Ngenge put through his own net. If that was a setback, things quickly became worse. Just before the interval, the Sudan doubled their lead from the penalty spot. Nigeria's attempts to hit back before the break faltered, with Sikiru Alimi heading wide from close range in stoppage time. Any hopes of a second half revival evaporated within 10 minutes of this restart. Abdel Rauf Yagoub, already a constant menace to the Nigerian backline, struck twice in quick succession. His first, in the 55th minute, came after Musa Hussein's smart cutback found him in space, allowing him to finish with his left foot into the bottom corner. 7 minutes later, he completed his brace with a crisp right-footed strike high into the net before being left unmarked in the box. Sudan's victory following their opening draw against Congo moves them to 4 points from 2 matches and within touching distance of the knockout stages. For Nigeria, the defeat is a sobering blow to their CHAN ambitions. And that's the news. But before we go, here again are our top stories. Federal government withdrawal of orders withdrawal of case against Ibom Airline passenger Comfort Emmanson. Federal government reduces Guam 1's no flight ban and pilot suspension to 1 month. Reps push to make appeal court final judge in governorship election dispute. Dangote Refinery slashes ex-depot petrol price by 30 naira. 30,000 naira car racing bet leaves 5 dead in Ogun State. On international news, Zelensky and European leaders they hold Trump call ahead of a Putin summit. And in sports, Sudan Doms Eagles B out of Chan after 4-0 thrashing. And that's the World News at 12. I am Solomon of FM. Do follow our social media handles at VOP903FM. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at VOP903FM. Good afternoon and thank you for listening.